Everybody, and welcome to the Go Vegan Grow interview. My name is Dave Sheehan. I'm the founder of Go Vegan Grow, and I'm a 100% plant-based triathlete. So I'm excited to have you on. Thank you for coming on. And I know we've had registrants from people all over the world, and there's all different types of time zones. So, firstly, I just want to congratulate you on your commitment on actually coming on to the show. Let me just mute this here. I just want to congratulate you on your commitment to actually coming onto the show, because there's many people who need to be on this and they haven't made that commitment. So congratulations firstly for you investing your time. What's Go Vegan Grow? Why do we do these Go Vegan Grow interviews? Well, myself and my team are passionate about educating, motivating and inspiring people like yourself to know more about adopting a plant-based lifestyle and the merits of it and the benefits of it. And this is why we get on people like athletes, entrepreneurs, ordinary people just like yourself who have experiences of adopting a plant-based lifestyle. So you can see that, the benefits of it. You can see how people have transitioned to it over their lives. Like you would have heard from myself ages ago, it took me 7 years to adopt that lifestyle. Some people do it overnight. Some people, like me, take a bit longer. So we're very passionate about helping you and educating you. And, what I ask you to do is, just take the information on board that we're going to share in this interview and, put something into practice. Hopefully it will inspire you to make change. If you're already plant-based and whole food and vegan, that's fantastic. I hope you get a few nuggets that will help you to improve your lifestyle even further. So I'm absolutely delighted to have Robert Cheeke on as our interview guest today, because Robert Cheeke is someone I've admired for a long, long time, and he's done such amazing work in the whole plant-based vegan world. He's done such amazing work to spread the awareness, not just in the US, but worldwide. He's the founder and president of Vegan Bodybuilding and Fitness. He's recently published Shredded, and he's been on an amazing book tour all over the world, spreading again the vegan message and sharing the information he shares in his book. And I'm just delighted to have Robert on. And Robert, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant. I know you're a very, very busy man, and you're all over the place, touring everywhere, doing seminars, doing book signings. It's, again, fantastic work you're doing. And again, I'm really delighted to have you on for this. And just want to thank you so much for your time, because again, it is valuable. Like everyone's time, it's very valuable.
Well, thanks, Dave. I just got back from the gym, so I am pumped and happy to be here, and looking forward to chatting today. So thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. And as I said, we have people on from all over. And guys, before I start asking Robert a few questions that you've sent in, I have some myself and just some general questions that are going to be useful with the information and knowledge that Robert has. You see on the live stream page, on the right of it, there's a chat box. In the chat box, introduce who you are, where you're from, and then most importantly, put in your questions. I'll be keeping an eye in the chat box, and I'll pick out the best questions to ask Robert, and we'll hopefully get through all of them before the interview finishes. So Robert, natural place to start is, you went vegan from a very young age, and so tell us a bit about back then. You were 15 years of age. Before that, and also then leading up to, what was the stimulation? What was it really spurred you on to adopt a vegan lifestyle at such a young age?
Yeah, good question. I grew up on a farm when I was a kid. So I grew up on a farm with farm animals, like small animals like rabbits and guinea pigs and chickens and ducks and turkeys, to larger animals like cows and horses and ponies and goats. So I was surrounded by farm animals, and naturally, these farm animals had first names, much like a dog or a cat. And so I had these animals that I was close with. They had first names. They were, in some cases, felt like part of the family. I got very close with them. And when I was an early teenager, my older sister was already a vegetarian and had become vegan. And she was organizing this animal rights week at our high school. And so I decided, just out of respect for her, I would attend this animal rights week and listen to speakers, watch videos of factory farming and animal testing, and have conversations with people, discuss this topic and this lifestyle. So initially, I thought I was just becoming vegetarian for a week, just to support my sister's initiative at this animal rights week in our high school in a farming community, in an agriculture town in Corvallis, Oregon. And that time, December 8th, 1995, that beginning has led to now. We're shortly after December 8th, 2015, so 20 years now. And so I've been doing that ever since. I've got into veganism for animal rights, but I was a really small, skinny, scrawny endurance athlete. I was a 5-sport athlete, but primarily a runner. And I wanted to get bigger and stronger, but I wasn't sure that was doable on a vegan lifestyle. This was before the internet came around, and I wasn't sure this was really possible. So I kind of went out on that road on my own and had to discover some things and learn some things and teach myself some things about nutrition, about work ethic, about passion, about drive, about determination, about wanting to make a difference, about wanting to achieve something meaningful. And I learned a lot along the way, had some good role models, and here we are.
And like you mentioned there about, that you were very skinny as a kid, and around that age of 15 when you adopted the plant-based lifestyle. And that I presume is what spurred you on then to, go into bodybuilding. I remember reading in Shredded that you said you used to stand up looking at the bookshelves and see the different magazines of the different bodybuilders, and it was something you aspired to achieve. Tell us a bit more about that journey into bodybuilding, but also another question would be, did you have certain reservations then? Like you were kind of on two journeys. One was adopting a plant-based lifestyle that you decided to do. The other one is you wanted to be a bodybuilder and bulk up and get bigger. Did the kind of, the non-correlation of those and the perception of people, and then in your own head at the time, I'm sure, did it kind of give you doubt sometimes about adopting the plant-based lifestyle? Oh
yeah, absolutely. I had doubts all the time early on. I mean, it's really an oxymoron, vegan and bodybuilding. Back then, these don't go together. I mean, you either drink lots of milk and eat lots of meat and lift heavy weights and you get big, or you don't. That was the mentality back then. You take lots of supplements, you eat as many animal products as possible, and especially you drink lots of milk. I mean, a lot of dairy protein, and this is how you succeed. And so I did have reservations. I wasn't sure it was going to work for me. I had to ask some questions. Can I still build muscle on a vegan lifestyle? And luckily, it was communicated to me by my older sister that, listen, at the end of the day, it's not that our bodies need meat, milk, and eggs. We need the nutrition that's commonly associated with meat, milk, and eggs: vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, complete protein, these types of things. And as it turns out, these come in their best, optimal, and original forms from plant-based whole foods: fruits, vegetables, nuts, grains, seeds, legumes. This is where vitamins come from. This is where minerals come from. This is where antioxidants come from, essential fats, fiber, water. This is the complete package. So I had that knowledge and that confidence, but I was still unsure, because let me put it in perspective. I know you use probably kilos or stones or whatever, but I use pounds. So I'll just use what I'm used to. When I was in 8th grade, so 14 years old, just about to go into high school, I weighed 89 pounds. So I'm well short of 100 pounds. I was shorter. I was really skinny, and I was a good distance runner, a good soccer player. I was a pretty good athlete, but I was really, really small. And so I weighed about 2 years later, when I became vegan, just a couple months before turning age 16, a sophomore in high school, 120 pounds, but I was quite a bit taller by then. So, still a pretty skinny kid. And it really wasn't in the cards for me, to be a bodybuilder. I mean, I didn't look like a football player. I wasn't built like one of these strong football players or other athletes, wrestlers at my high school. And bodybuilding wasn't really on my radar at that time. But you're right to say that because I was pretty small, being bigger and stronger is something I naturally wanted to do. It's something I naturally craved, because I'd never been able to experience that before. So I started working towards that. And eventually I would figure out how to do it. And I did. And I put on, not to speed the story along too much, but I eventually put on about 75 pounds over the course of, 7 years or so, and became a champion bodybuilder, and then went on to do all the other stuff that I've done from that realization that, yes, I can achieve. Yes, I can set specific goals. I can compete in bodybuilding. I can be competitive with other athletes who eat animal products 8 times a day, eat chicken all day long and supplements all day long, and I can do okay. In fact, I can win those competitions, and I can represent a compassionate vegan lifestyle in doing so. And then I can spread that message through my other passions, which are writing, speaking, touring, sharing online, those types of avenues to get the word out.
Yeah. And Robert, people know in terms of your achievement as a vegan bodybuilder back then, especially. your achievements are pretty outstanding. Again, in that whole world. So just share with people exactly what you achieved.
Yeah, so I first got into bodybuilding around 2001. So in the early days, at least from modern day now, where there's like what seemingly thousands of vegan bodybuilders, I got into it pretty early, and I first started competing really competitively in 2003, and I eventually won the INBA International Natural Bodybuilding Association Northwestern USA Natural Bodybuilding Championships in 2005. I competed at the INBA Natural Bodybuilding World Championships in 2006, and I continued to compete over the years. And then I won another contest again, that same one that I'd won 4 years prior. I won again in 2009, the Northwestern USA Natural Bodybuilding Championships. So that was exciting, and I almost won another time. I thought I was going to. I ended up in second place, but that's okay. And I ended up runner-up 4 times actually in different competitions. Oh. So could have been, you never know how it works out. Could have been first place as many as 6 times, but I won overall.
Frustrating, but at the same time, a huge achievement.
Yeah, especially back then, because there weren't a lot of other people doing it. There was a guy in California, a guy in England, and that's about it. I think maybe a guy in Germany came along a little bit later on. And because this is still in the 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 era, not a lot of people doing it. But yeah, a few of us went out there, set the tone, set the bar that yes, you can win and you can be competitive, you can look really good, you can represent a movement, represent an idea, and share this with other people. And it started to spread. I mean, I started to have an influence on other bodybuilding competitors backstage, especially. I mean, imagine the reality you're faced with. Let's say you are a large consumer of animal products. You're a bodybuilder, you eat lots of meat, and you're standing next to me, and you recognize that you didn't win. You lost to a guy that doesn't even eat meat. That you have to internalize that for a moment. Like, wow, how is that possible? This guy doesn't even eat any animal products. He's not even drinking milk. And I lost that guy. And not in any kind of mean-spirited way, but it causes you to pause for a moment if you're that person and say, wow, this guy was able to succeed. I mean, he not only did he beat me, he beat everybody else, or he won the whole competition, and he doesn't eat any of this stuff that's very common and popular and mainstream in bodybuilding. How is that possible? And then you start having that conversation. Then you start being able to have an influence on other people and have a positive influence on other people. And so that was part of that trickle up effect that was really part of the exciting thing about being early in the vegan bodybuilding movement, was that you could have that really strong influence on people to get other people to be inspired to live the same way.
Mm-hmm. Like when I started training 20 years ago or so, when I first got into it, what put me off it was, I was never going to use drugs and steroids and all this type of thing. And obviously that world is very rife with it. But, I was at the time like that, consuming so much meat, so much dairy, eating up to 13 times a day. I imagine there was quite a lot of resistance to what you were doing, even though the proof was there, you were winning. And you said there's guys there and they must be thinking, what the hell is going on? How can he be beating me? He's not putting beef into his mouth, whey protein, dairy, and so on. What kind of reactions did your peers have to you, at that initial phase, especially at the start?
Yeah, it was interesting because there were a lot of people who were surprised. How is this guy doing this, or how is this even possible? Or even that there was, of course, that surprise mentality, but also the little bit of disbelief or untrusting, or I'm not so sure I could do that, or I'm not sure that's the best thing for everybody else. This guy is a little bit unique. He's doing his thing, I'm going to do my thing. A lot of people were not, well, I don't want to say a lot were unsupportive, but certainly some were unsupportive, and others were totally open-minded and supportive of the idea and interested even in doing something like this. And what was really neat was oftentimes when you win a competition, you're able to speak on the microphone. They interview you on stage. They, hey, Robert, congratulations. You have a few things you want to say to the audience. And so I'm able to actually share that or talk about talk about being vegan and living a compassionate lifestyle, say a few words, try to lead by example. I always thought it was important to make it known that I was vegan for not only the competitors backstage, but to the audience as well. And sometimes I would even use vegan type lyrics, I think, in my presentation on bodybuilding to represent that lifestyle as well. And so anyway, I also, when I first got into bodybuilding, I mean, I really got into it. So I was befriending a lot of the famous bodybuilders. I had my photos with Arnold and all these guys, Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and Chris Cormier and Lee Priest and Dorian Yates and all these just legends in the sport. And so it was really neat to be able to talk to the kind of the people that were like the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James of bodybuilding, and talk to them about vegan lifestyle as well. And some of them actually were interested in it and are totally aware of it. And it put that in the back of their mind, because I met them 15 years ago, and in some cases have been friends with them for this whole time. They're certainly aware of it. And a number of these guys have adopted more of a plant-based lifestyle over the years, looking out for their health after a lot of years of abusing their body with so much inflammatory foods, animal-based foods, non-nutrient dense foods, but really calorically dense foods, high cholesterol foods, saturated fat foods, these types of things, acid forming foods. And now they're coming to a more plant-based lifestyle. At least a number of these famous guys are. So it's been an interesting journey this whole time, and hopefully we have the best days are way ahead of us.
Yeah, again, that would be great to think. And again, it's something to definitely expect. You know, before we came live, you know, we were chatting about the way the whole plant-based movement is gathering pace over the last few years. And it's going to continue to do so, and all over the world, which is what's so fantastic. It's not just in the States or just in the UK or just in Australia, it's everywhere. Like, you know, as to share with you, even here in Lanzarote, a small island, one of the Canary Islands of Africa, there's now vegan restaurants, 2 of them, inside the main town. You know, so it's gathering pace everywhere, which is absolutely fantastic and, you know, great for people like us to see. Say you had, that was your success in the bodybuilding, and, you know, your career really was taking off with it. You know, around what time did you set up veganbodybuilding.com? And to tell us a bit about the group, because it's grown to something very special.
Yeah, well, you know, the website started pretty early, actually. So like I said, I became vegan in 1995, but I was a runner all the way up until 1999. I even ran distance cross country in college for 1 year. It wasn't until late 1999, early 2000 that I started lifting weights. And it wasn't really until 2001 that I really made some progress in the gym and became a bodybuilder. And that's when I started entering competition, getting the posing trunks and practicing posing and all this kind of stuff. That was in 2001. And I actually wrote all the content for veganbodybuilding.com in 2002, and it went live in February of 2003. And it was really cool. We had these fantastic communities before websites like Facebook came along. We had these interactive forums that were really, really busy. They still exist, but they're largely neglected these days. But we had just thousands of members and so much fun and activity on our interactive forums that we created some things called vegan vacations. And we had vegan vacations for 3 consecutive years, 2006, 2007, and 2008, where vegan athletes from our forum came from around the world and would come out to Portland, Oregon, where I was living at the time. And we would have a vegan athlete get together. And there were other groups doing this as well, but we had 1 year, it was kind of special, 2007. We had people from 5 different countries come out, including people from all over the United States. We rented this big house where we had, 14 people sleeping in one room, one giant living room or something. We had 27 people at the house, and it was just this incredible bonding experience that was actually so strong. I just came back from Australia visiting with one of the guys who came out in 2007, who made that big trip to come out and be part of our vegan athlete meetup. So the website was, I think it was influential in those early days. And that's where I was just hanging out also in Australia with Durian Writer, and he got his ideas for 30 bananas a day from our forum in those early days. That's what he told me. And a lot of things came from that community. I mean, one of the really neat things too is that a number of vegan athletes met on that website who are now married, who have kids, who have families. I mean, I know this. I'm still friends with some of them, and it's neat to see that. And so the website went live in 2003, and then I released a full-length documentary in 2005. So that was my first, aside from some t-shirts, we had vegan bodybuilding t-shirts as early as 2003. But we really started with the kind of the business thing, touring and all that in 2005 when I released a documentary called Vegan Fitness Built Naturally. And very old school these days. Like it's 10 years old. So technology was different back then. And YouTube wasn't a buzz like it is now. And but anyway, that was 2005, and that's what started the whole speaking tour. And then I've been rolling around ever since.
Yeah. And it's like in the last few months, world and just back there, and now at the moment in the US. So again, it's been a fantastic book. I enjoyed reading it myself, and great to see so many similar, concepts that we both think, but also again some great value I got from it myself as well. Because it's an area I'm very interested in. Like I share with you, I've been in fitness and health and bodybuilding, that whole area, and now triathlon for like 20 years. So what I'd like to touch on now is, what are kind of key principles and teaching points, and just give people a general overview of what Shredded's about.
Yeah, so Shredded's my latest book. I've been touring over the last year with that, and it's really it's designed to be a step-by-step guide to burning fat and building muscle on a whole food plant-based diet. So I've been vegan for 20 years, but those first 16 years I was using lots of well, not the whole 16 years, but over the course of those 16 years, I was using various supplements, protein powders, branched chain amino acids, vitamins, minerals, all kinds of different things, omega-3 supplements. And I really got inspired by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, author of the China Study and one of the featured stars of Forks Over Knives, and really an acclaimed nutritional scientist. I really got inspired to adopt a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So I was eating, like a lot of people who are vegan, I was eating a lot of processed foods and using quite a few different supplements. But I really wanted to give this a try. I took Dr. Campbell's online course through Cornell, his plant-based nutrition course through eCornell, through the Center of Nutrition Studies. And it really challenged my way of thinking about the amount of protein that we need. It challenged my ideas about supplementation. It challenged my ideas about whole foods versus processed foods. And I was put in a position where I thought, at the very least, I owe it to myself and to Dr. Campbell and all these experts to at least give it a try. And just try to cut down on the protein, try to cut out the supplements, try to reduce the refined and processed foods, and just see what happens, just see how that goes. And so I did. And that's what really inspired Shredded, because I cut out all those different things, the processed foods, the supplements, and the high protein foods. And I got essentially stronger than I've ever been. I got back into running and set a course record back in 2012 in a race that record still stands today. I finished in the top 5 in other races. I got second place in another one and 5th place in another one. I ran 4 half marathons. And then when I got back into lifting, I continued the same approach, the same Shredded approach to building muscle with real food and through real exercise, compound multi-joint lifts, and focus on return on investment, high ROI type of exercise and nutrition. And sure enough, I started putting on muscle again, like really well. I mean, bigger and stronger than I ever was, even as a competitive bodybuilder. I'm not maybe quite as shredded right now as when I competed, but I'm also not planning to be on a bodybuilding stage. So I'm not at the moment changing my water intake and sodium intake and doing excessive amounts of cardio and all these different things to get contest ready. I'm just training for the fun of it, and I'm, like I said, bigger and stronger than I've ever been. At almost 195 to 200 pounds body weight right now, coming up from 175 or so after I retired from bodybuilding 5 years ago. And so I've put on a good 20 25 pounds over the years. Just eating real food and training and focusing on consistency and having fun with it, really.
That's great. And again, even with that, even as a plant-based athlete, you've been busting a few myths about the whole thing with the protein and the supplement intakes and everything. So it's been great that you've now been able to prove that one can achieve these things on a totally whole food-based diet, which is great. And definitely T. Colin Campbell is an inspiration and has done incredible work. And definitely it's someone that everyone needs to check out a lot more, and check out his courses too, because you're one of many people I know who have taken them on and have only spoken really highly of that course.
Yeah, absolutely. And really it really was that experience that set the tone for this new book, Shred It, that I had to experiment on myself. Can I still build muscle? Can I still achieve these fitness goals? I want to test this out. I was not optimistic that it was going to work. I figured, well, and protein drinks work for a reason. High protein foods work for a reason. I doubt this approach is going to work. Just eating things like potatoes and yams and brown rice and lentils and beans and quinoa and leafy green vegetables and oats and fruits. But guess what? When you understand things like your true caloric expenditure, your true caloric intake, you understand how consistency works, you understand how adaptation works, you understand how things compound and how important transparency is and accountability is, you can dictate what your outcome is going to be. And you have to eat the right foods for performance and eat the right foods for recovery and get adequate total caloric intake based on what your expenditure is and based on what your goals are. And you can essentially achieve whatever you want in sports. At least that's my philosophy. You want to gain muscle? Sure. It's a mathematical formula. You want to lose weight? Good. It's another formula. You want to increase endurance? Here you go. Again, another formula. You just have to put yourself in a position to be successful. And unfortunately, a lot of people won't do what it takes to become successful in those areas. They may know the approaches. They may even understand the science. They may even understand the nutrition. It's just applying it that is their barrier. And that's one of the things I write about in Shred It. As you know, it's very, by design, it's very motivational. It's very uplifting. It's like, hey, Dave, you've got 1,440 minutes in a day. What are you doing with it? Do you really care about your fitness goals? Do you really care about your health goals? Or would you rather watch television? Or would you rather watch the same movie for the 15th time? Or whatever the case is. And I'm not necessarily anti-TV or anti-movie. I'm just pro-productivity based on what your goals are. If you want to be an excellent TV critic, then you should be watching TV. If you want to be a movie star, well, then you should be studying movies. But if you claim to want to burn fat or build muscle or achieve health and fitness goals, then that's what you've got to do, and not eat a bunch of junk food and try to justify poor behaviors because you like the taste of chocolate. I mean, these are real things that matter. And when you can have that control and when you can change your behaviors, which then turn into new habits, and you build new habits based on what your goals are, then you are on a course for success. And that's why I was in the gym right before on this call. I didn't even shower. I just put on this collared shirt after the gym. That's why I was in the gym yesterday until almost midnight. That's why I was in the gym when I got off the plane, when I flew here to Arizona. That's why I'm sitting here, eating real food. It makes a difference. If I didn't care about it, I wouldn't do it. And then I wouldn't have the results. I wouldn't win competitions. I wouldn't build muscle. I wouldn't be able to write books if I didn't have that discipline. So that's Shred It. It can help. It can help everybody. I've signed books for big time celebrities to people who, after a lecture, wait in line for an hour or two to get a signed book because the presentation was powerful. They felt inspired and motivated, and they knew that the book was endorsed by people like Dr. Campbell, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Milton Mills, Kathy Freston, Forks Over Knives, all these people, that it was going to be good and was going to be helpful. And we've seen that as the book has sold thousands of copies, helped thousands of people, saved thousands of lives, human and non-human lives. It's been fantastic. And that's why I'm so passionate about being on tour and spreading this message, because it really has a tangible impact and positive influence on people. And I see that every day.
Yeah. And it really what I really liked about the book was the fact you did focus a lot on the mindset and desire and determination. And do you actually really want this? And doing even a comparison between the healthy foods and then the unhealthy foods, and like that comparison to TV versus if you want to go to the gym. Because the bottom line, if you want to achieve anything in life, you have to show it. You have to show desire. You have to show determination. And like another thing you said in the book about, everyone sets goals and has goals, but how many actually achieve them? Because do they really want it? Like, that's the big difference. That's why I say to people I come across, how much do you really want it? Because everyone wants it, but do you really want it? That's the big difference. So the motivational aspect of your book was fantastic, because so many, fat loss, weight loss, muscle building, transformation type books, they've zone in so much on just nutrition and just exercise, and they forget the whole area of mindset and goal setting. And you've got chapters dedicated to even setting goals, which is fantastic. Yeah. And outlining even you in your own successes, how you did it. Maybe touch a bit on that chapter actually, where you said the steps of what to do, and then you actually outlined exactly how you did it for yourself.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. Here's the thing. For a long time, I've been able to connect the dots ahead of time. I don't know where that comes from exactly, but I've been able to understand how the dots are going to connect in the future. And so I take actions today. They're going to set me up for success a month from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. And I do this in fitness. I do this with business. I do this with writing. I do this in all aspects of what I do. Most of us, when we set goals, we want 100% of the return on a 40% effort. We want, like, the new year's coming. I want to lose weight. This is my year. I want to be ripped. I want to be fit. How come she can? How come he can? Why can't I look like them? Maybe it's my genetics. Maybe it's these limitations. Maybe it's this excuse or that one. But what we have to understand is that we're going to get a return. We're going to get a return based on what our investment is. And this is going to be almost universally true. We give 100% effort towards something, and actually do the right steps too, not just effort, but the appropriate effort, and we can get a really good return. If we just put in a 30 or 40% effort and expect us to get to be in amazing shape or amazing health or be able to make the Olympic team in marathon running, not by jogging once every 7 days. I mean, you have to put yourself in a position to be successful and to achieve that goal. And so what I'm really big on is being able to try to connect those dots ahead of time. So how will today's decision impact me tomorrow? Here's one quick, easy example. Let's say you go to the grocery store, okay? This is one question I actually ask. You walk into a store and basically say to yourself, what will this food do for me? What's it gonna do for me? What, bag of potato chips? Tastes good. They're salty. The potatoes are a nice tasting food. But what's the return on investment? Is this going to help me with my health and fitness goals? The answer for most people is going to be probably not. But what is this? What is this banana, mango, apple, orange, peach, pear, romaine, kale, you name it, going to do for me? Broccoli, lentils, beans, oats, rice, quinoa, yams. What's this going to do for me? Well, it's going to provide vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, water, high levels of energy, complex carbohydrate. It's going to be a great fuel source. It's going to be good for muscle recovery after workout. I mean, the list goes on and on. That's what we have to identify is going to the gym on a regular basis going to help me? I've got plenty of time. 1,440 minutes in a day. Could I spend 40 of those minutes in the gym? Am I going to make that a priority? And what's the residual effect of that? What happens? Let me tell you something. This is a nice thing to think about. So in the areas of health and fitness, what happens if we say, hey, you know what? I just take weekends off. Weekends, I kind of eat a little more junk food, watch some football, whether that's European football or American football. We'll use it across the board, universal here. I watch some football. I kind of, I eat some junk food. Maybe I drink a little bit. I don't go to the gym. Well, let's just say we do that. We change our behaviors to be not super supportive of our health and fitness goals, and we don't exercise as well as we should on weekends. If we did that only on weekends, that's 104 days out of the year. 104 out of 365 days. But guess what? We don't only do that. We don't only have a lackluster approach on weekends. What about holidays? What about anniversaries? What about sick days? What about travel days? What about days we don't feel like it, high stress days? What about all these other things, Friday nights, or this specific anniversary, or, you know, I'm just not in the mood or whatever. The point is, many times, many of us, well-meaning individuals, we have a fitness goal we care about. We have a health goal we care about, but we spend 4 or 5 days a week working against that goal. And then we try to justify our behaviors by saying, hey, you know what? I wanted to spend time doing this, or I really wanted to catch this sporting event, or you know what? I just like the taste of chocolate chip pancakes every weekend, and I just have to have them. Well, what happens is when we do that, that's a behavior that then becomes a habit. What if okay, fair enough, I like chocolate chip pancakes, but now I like them for every week, 52 weekends out of a year, maybe 104 days, or maybe we only eat them on Saturdays and occasional Sundays, so 76 days out of the year we have these, but then we also like it on major holidays, and we like all this extra pastries and desserts on birthdays and parties and anniversaries and all.
Like this time of year, Christmas. It's 2-3 weeks instead of one day.
Right, you get at least in America, where these are celebrated fairly heavily, you get Thanksgiving to the New Year. You get about a month and a half of just eating whatever you want and not exercising, because you know January 1st you're going to go for it, you're going to get back in the gym, and then you're statistically likely going to stop on January 17th. This is the most common day people give up on New Year's resolutions. So we have this month and a half of just crazy indulgence of caloric surplus, non-nutrient dense foods, lack of activity because we're spending time with friends and family. And this is important stuff. These are important activities, but we have to then expect that, hey, I'm not going to be very healthy and I'm not going to be in very good shape. I'm having a great time with family and friends, but we have to at least be honest with what we can expect. Or we can say, you know what? I can spend as much time with family and friends as I want, but I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day, every day, working out hard. And I'm going to do it on the floor right here, push-ups and crunches and jumping jacks, or I'm going to go to a gym before activities get started for the day. So as relatives sleep in, I'm going to go hammer out a workout beforehand. Or when we're all done having dinner and everyone's just kind of, you know, tired and fatigued on the couch and watching TV before starting a movie, I'm going to go to the gym, you know, or I'm going to have some dumbbells or some bands, resistant bands or straps or something, and I'm going to work out regardless of where I am, because that's important for my overall goal. So this is the type of stuff. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that our actions compound, and 99% of us forget about that. That we forget about that if we eat a bunch of junk food and have inactivity, that compounds and leads to a result. If we exercise a lot and eat healthy food, that compounds and leads to a result. And so we have to change our behaviors in order to build new habits, which lead to new results and outcomes. And if we pick positive behaviors and develop really good habits, it leads to great outcomes.
I love that about the weekends, because that's so true. You know, it's a perspective that people don't think about. That you might think, oh, it's only the weekend, but there's a lot of weekends.
Yeah, it's almost a third of the year. Almost a third of the year.
Exactly, which you'd never think of. You know, I want to dive a bit deeper into getting nutritional strategies that you share in Shredded, and one of the, I know is really important is the nutrient timing. So just share a little bit about your education on nutrient timing and what you advise people to do for maximum fat loss and muscle gain.
Yeah, so sure. So first of all, what I advise everyone to do is to discover what your own personal caloric expenditure is and determine what your current caloric intake is. I mean, how many people know this? How many people know, based on their gender, age, height, weight, and activity level, how many calories they're burning every day? 99% of people have no idea. How many calories are you eating every day? You know, what are you really eating? 99% of people, no idea. You know, a sandwich here, a burrito here, a wrap here, a pastry here, a fruit here, oatmeal here, pad thai here. We have no idea. And so what I encourage people to do is to first determine these things. You find out what your basal metabolic rate is, or simply use a Harris-Benedict equation calculator and include your gender, age, height, weight, activity level, and find out what your caloric expenditure is. So then you know what your caloric intake needs to be in order to maintain weight. So let's just make that number. Let's say based on me, based on 35-year-old male, almost 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. I actually am in a very active lifestyle. I do push-ups and crunches every day, as you know, and I lift weights 5 days a week. I climb a lot of stairs, take the dog for a walk. You know, probably more active than most people. when it's all said and done, I burn 3,400 calories a day. So what does that mean? For me to stay the same, 195 pounds, I've got to eat about 3,400 calories a day. And if those come from plant-based whole foods, then it's not going to be that food is going to help me build muscle and stay lean and stay fit and all that, versus eating super calorically dense, high fatty foods, processed foods, refined foods, which could lead to excess fat gain, even if I am active, because of the nature of those calories. So what I have to understand is then if I want to bulk up a little bit, which I've been doing, I've been putting on some weight lately, and it's been fun, lifting heavy weights and eating excess caloric intake, a surplus beyond my expenditure, that if I know to maintain weight, I've got to eat 3,400 calories, then I want to be eating, I don't know, 3,800 calories, 3,900 calories. So how do I do that? How do I get that in throughout the day? And so my way of doing that is, and it's different for everybody probably, but I like to eat all throughout the day. So I start the day with a bowl of oatmeal and some walnuts, some berries, and a number of bananas, 2 or 3, 4 whole bananas with the oatmeal, with the fruit added to the oatmeal, with the walnuts. And so you get a really nutrient dense meal that has quite a few calories in it when you add it all up, especially the nuts being at 2,500 calories per pound and oats being 500 calories per pound. And depending on the quantity, the size of that bowl of oatmeal, get some good calories there. And then throughout the day, my philosophy is that I want to stay energized throughout the day, because the number 1 and 2 reasons we don't exercise are I don't have time and I don't have energy. Like I don't feel like it, right? I'm either too tired from overeating or I'm too hungry from undereating and I've got to eat. So what I do is I eat every 2 hours or so, every 2 or 3 hours. I eat fruit all day long. I've got tons of bananas right over here over my shoulder. I've got some oranges and mangoes and things like that just right here where I'm staying. I've got some fruit in the car, the grapes in the fridge. I've got all kinds of things. And I keep little bars with me as well, just fruit, nuts, and seed bars that are as whole food as it gets. I mean, there's like 4 ingredients in them. And those are about 200 calories per bar. And I eat those as snacks throughout the day. And then for lunch, I want to go for a pretty big meal of something that has a base of potatoes or yams or lentils, beans, rice, quinoa, then maybe some salad greens, maybe some additional fruit, something like that. And then again, snacks throughout the day. I usually work out in the evening for the most part. So I have fruit before workout. So I get really great energy before a workout. And I even eat fruit during a workout sometimes, especially because right now I'm not trying to burn fat. I'm not worried about getting into a fat burning zone. I'm adding muscle at the moment. So I'll eat a little bit during the workout to keep myself fueled and as strong as possible, to lift the most weights as possible. And then after workout, I kind of have a post-workout dinner. So my appetite is stimulated even more from working out. And so I have a big dinner at that point, which is oftentimes things like beans and rice and avocado, tomato, lettuce, salsa, olives, that type of thing. And again, probably some more snacks before bed as just, again, a little bit more recovery fuel because I train pretty hard, whether it's back, chest, shoulders, legs, arms. I'm doing something pretty hard. I want to make sure I get enough caloric intake in order to grow, go vegan, grow, right? I want to be able to grow. And so I've got to make sure that my total caloric intake supports that goal. So as far as, I gave you the whole day, but as far as workout timing, meal timing, it really is every couple hours of eating something with 3 or 4 big meals throughout the day. And I have a specific approach for pre-workout of eating fruit and post-workout replenishing with fruit and water and things lost through exercise. And then a really big, heavy meal that's based on rice or beans or lentils or potatoes or yams, something really heavy and nutrient dense, high in volume, and just add those calories in, add that muscle growth stimulation type of food into the diet. So, and you notice those foods that I listed, they're not processed foods. They're not super heavy in oil or refined carbohydrates. And so that is designed to have all those calories go toward muscle repair and just general health. and muscle quality and athletic performance. I'm not eating calories just for the sake of eating calories. I'm not eating a lot of pastries or things that fit my macronutrient breakdown, even if they're nutrient void, like bagels or bread. I'm just not that interested. So this is the approach that I take to have real food fuel real results.
Brilliant. And it's great again for viewers, to hear your own personal daily structure with your nutrition, because, it's important for people to see that you actually do this. You're living this lifestyle, you're eating these foods, 100% whole food, where before you were consuming, lots of different shakes and stuff like that. And as you said, some processed foods as well. And the importance of the timing around for building muscle, if that's your goal. To shift to the fat loss side then, I know you're big on the benefits of, for instance, exercising first thing in the morning, or instead of doing steady state, low intensity, long duration, to instead do HIIT. Just touch for people on, for fat loss specific, why you should do it first thing in the morning, why empty stomach, why HIIT training versus steady state.
Yeah, I think a lot of different approaches work for fat burning, but you've got to put them into practice, and I think test it out for yourself and see it for yourself and see it among other people who are really, really good at it, which bodybuilders are really good at burning fat. That's part of their job. It's part of their career, is burning fat. And so I have a lot of experience doing that. And so my philosophy is when you exercise first thing on an empty stomach, you haven't consumed any carbohydrate fuel for the last 8 or 10 hours, however long it's been since your last meal before sleeping, for hopefully 7 or 8 hours or so. And so you got some good sleep. You haven't eaten in 8 to 10 hours. So you don't have a lot of stored carbohydrate to use as fuel for exercise. You have some, of course. You have glycogen stores in your muscle. You have to, just for general health, but you have low amounts when you haven't eaten for a long time. So this is a great time to start doing some cardiovascular aerobic training. First thing in the morning, you don't have a ton of carbohydrate stores, and so you burn through it quickly. And then your body is going to naturally call upon fat as fuel, and now you get into a fat burning zone really quickly and efficiently. So then you start burning fat as fuel. And your workout, it really only has to be, in my opinion, 20 to 40 minutes or so, because you're in there burning fat, sweating, and using fat as fuel that whole time. And I don't suggest you lift weights on an empty stomach. What I suggest is cardiovascular training, and I do like this. I do like the up and down of intensity. When you are doing a little bit steady state for a while, but you increase the intensity and get the heart rate up and put your effort turned up a notch, and really sweat, really burn calories, really burn fat, really make sure that fat is being used as fuel and is being readily used up by adjusting the intensity of your workout. Now, not everybody's a morning person. I'm not a morning person. I stay up late. I work late nights on the computer doing my online work, and I sometimes go to the gym late. Like I said, I didn't get home from the gym until almost midnight last night. And so I'm not going to get up super early in the morning. So another great way to burn fat or get into an effective fat burning zone is what happens after you've done weight training for an hour or so. I mean, you start to feel hungry and tired after an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. You're not the same as when you started. And that's because you've burned not only your muscles fatigue, but you've burned through your glycogen stores. You've burned through your carbohydrate fuel. So now this is a great time following a weight training workout. You've just busted those heavy weights for an hour, hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. It's a great time to hop on the stair stepper, hop on the rowing machine, go for a jog, go for a sprint, do some jumping rope, do something, get on the treadmill, get on the bike. This is a great time because, again, you've burned through those glycogen stores during this hour and 15 minutes of exercise. It's a great opportunity to burn some fat, call upon fat as fuel as you do your post weight training workout cardiovascular training. That's another great way to do it. And the third one that I talk about in the book is that, what if you say, Robert, I don't have time for that. I'm not a morning person and I don't have time to work out for an hour and then go do half an hour of cardio. It's 90 minutes out of my day. It's a big chunk of time. Well, you're in luck. There's high intensity training, high intensity interval training. You can speed up the number of calories you burn per hour. Like a regular weight training workout, I think is, what do you burn, like 400 calories an hour? Because a lot of it is pressing and you sit on a bench. Just kind of sit here press again, sit here. But if you have a high intensity workout, boxing, kicking, jump rope, running in place, I don't know, some time on the stair step or on the bike, doing push-ups and jumping jacks between sets. Or maybe you do these giant sets where there's no pause in between, where you do a whole bunch of exercise, some presses, some overhead press, some flies, some squats, where it's continuous. There's no rest in there. You can double that. You can burn 800, 900, maybe 1,000 calories an hour. So you can speed up the intensity at the rate of which you burn calories. So if you're short on time, get explosive. Start running up hills. Run stairs. Do some kicks and punches. Do as many push-ups and squats until you can't do them anymore. I mean, one great exercise to do at home is to do a bunch of jumping jacks, like 15 or so. Immediately drop and do 15 push-ups. Immediately stand up and do 15 squats, and start all over again and do 14 jumping jacks, 14 push-ups, 14 squats. Count all the way down to 0. It's total body blast. You're worn out. You're burning calories like crazy. You're calling upon fat as fuel and burning through it like crazy, and you see results. And I've seen this in so many people. I mean, I've seen so many people achieve effective fat loss when they get into an effective fat burning zone. So if running on the treadmill every day isn't working, and drinking sugary drink, some sort of sugary drink before doing cardio is preventing you from burning fat, don't do that stuff. Don't do the things that inhibit your fat loss. Don't eat during the workout. If you're trying to lose weight, don't do those things. Don't reset your body's ability to burn fat as fuel. Don't take in any extra carbohydrates. Don't take in any extra sugars. I mean, you got to really get in that zone. And when you do, you'll be effective and you'll see the difference.
Brilliant, and brilliant tips and advice. And guys, this is only touching the surface of what Robert shared and shredded. So if you don't have a copy already, make sure you go and grab a copy. And we'll have links below the video in the replay and stuff as well. And Robert will share some access details as well at the end of this. You've had an interesting, year, 2015, and especially the last few months when you published Shredded. You've been on a book tour all over the world, met a lot of interesting people. Any specific experiences or episodes in that whole journey that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, it's been great. I touched on, actually, maybe this was before we got on the air. I was in London, Ontario, Canada. I gave a lecture at a big university out there, Western University. And I think it was one of my better talks. I'm not sure, but I think it was one of my better talks. I had hundreds of people sitting in this lecture hall. And I remember it was really cool because it was fairly early in my book tour. And I had people line up to get a signed book and wait in line for as long as 2 hours to get a signed book. And that really helped me know that this message was resonating with people, from young people, college students. So I had this woman who was in her late 70s from Scotland, I think, and she was waiting to get a book signed, and it was great. I mean, it was fantastic just to see that this message of total accountability and transparency and following the steps that really help you burn fat and build muscle and achieve goals impacts people who are 18 years old to 88 years old, people who just really want to see results and know that they have control over it and can learn something useful from something that not only I wrote, from, even though I do have 20 years experience as a plant-based athlete, but I got some of the best in the business to endorse it. So that was a fun experience. Also, this recent tour in Australia was fantastic. I mean, it was so cool to see some old friends in Australia, some that I met here in the U.S., others I'd never met before, but I've been in touch with for 10 years, and great to meet them. And again, we had our most successful book tour we've ever had in Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide. Again, I think I was signing books for like 6 hours a day at these major vegan festivals that have 5,000 to 15,000 people, and many of them come by the booth or come listen to my talk, and it's great to be able to interact with that many people and see that people are inspired and motivated with this message. And even in one of the best, actually probably the best talk I gave, maybe all of 2015, was in Dallas, Texas. In Texas, of all places, I had a packed room, standing room only, and I signed books for an hour and a half straight after the talk, and total of probably signing books for 5 hours that day. And that was in the heart of Texas. I mean, you don't think, even though I've lived here and I've even lived in Texas, one might not expect Texas to be one of the most vegan friendly or progressive places. So I've got a little fly flying around my head. So if you see me moving my hand around, I'm just trying to move them along. But anyway, you may not think of Texas as being this this great vegan hub or vegan friendly community, but we had 10,000 people at this festival, and I had hundreds at my talk, and I signed books for hours. And it was just, and that's not only just me feeling proud or successful. Wow, look how many people are interested in what I'm doing. It's a statement that there are 10,000 people in the heart of this Texas city that are really interested in this lifestyle. And if a bunch of them end up getting shredded and tell other people about it and learn more about vegan bodybuilding and the vegan bodybuilding and fitness lifestyle and some of the work that I do and my colleagues do, and learn more about Dr. Campbell and Dr. Will Tuttle and all these other people, I think that's a good thing. So we've had some tremendous highlights from being on the road, including touring in the Caribbean, which was a lot of fun, on this vegan-friendly Caribbean cruise that we do every year. That was a great time, and just being able to go to all these different cities and see all these different people and be able to have so much in common with a community that wants to learn more and more about how they can take control of their own health and fitness. So yeah, it's been a fantastic time on the road this year.
Brilliant. And like that, being around like-minded people, like there's definitely nothing better. And for people who are watching, it's important to surround yourself with people who are supportive and push you along in whatever goals that you're looking to achieve.
Yeah.
Right now, like actually today 3 weeks I think it is New Year's Eve. 2 weeks is Christmas Eve. So at this time of year, as we touched on earlier, so many people nearly go, I'll wait till the start of January. I'll just go mad now. I'll just enjoy myself. What's the point in starting?
Yeah.
Incorporating like shredded strategies and just, your life experiences and success stories that you've played a part in. What advice you have for people on the lead up to Christmas and also looking at New Year's resolutions,
right,
in terms of where they can have fun, they can enjoy the holidays, but at the same time, they can even progress?
Yeah, well, the main thing that I would communicate is that the best time to start on a new goal is right now, is today, because every day that we delay taking action, that we delay pursuing, that we delay working towards something new, is a day that we delay that outcome. I mean, do you really care? I mean, do you really care about losing weight or building muscle or having energy or possibly reversing a major disease or feeling better? I mean, do you really care about it? Maybe not, because your actions will determine that. Your actions will represent that. And if we really do care, then why would we want to delay that? Think about other things you like in life, just things you really enjoy. Travel, spending time with certain friends or family, or really meaningful experiences. Do you want to just wait a couple years for that to happen? Do you want to wait maybe 14 months from now when the timing's right, I'll enjoy this activity again? Or why not work toward that every day? And I think that can be universal and help in other areas of life too. I mean, do we want to better our situation in whatever the case is? Our level of happiness, our level of success, our circle of friends, our relationships with the family, relationships with other people, whatever it is. There's no need to delay and focus on an arbitrary date, January 1st. Wow, it's the beginning of a new year. Well, there's a beginning of a new month every 30 days or so as well. There's the beginning of a new week every 7 days. And why do we have to start on the 1st? I often make it a point to, whenever I have a specific new goal in mind, I start right then. What if it's Wednesday the 17th at 4 p.m.? Who cares? This is a great time to start. And so can you still enjoy holiday foods and family activities and all this? Yeah, we already touched on it. 40 minutes ago, you get up early, go work out before the rest of the family gets going. Understand your caloric intake and expenditure. And if you want to have some chocolate cake and some dessert, and maybe your family likes to have a pizza or a tofurkey or whatever the case is, I don't know, or you drink some sparkling cider and a bunch of extra calories. vegan eggnog, fair enough, but go work some of those calories off too. Do some push-ups, do some crunches, go for a hike, take the dog out more often, run some stairs, go to the gym, or even just, there's so many things you can do. And in fact, I have a whole list of them in my book, things you can do anywhere, anytime. You can do squats and lunges and wall sits and jumps and star jumps and sit-ups and crunches and dips and push-ups and all kinds of exercise just on a floor with no equipment. So we have to just take control of our actions and determine what we want to achieve and identify how hard we're willing to work to make that happen. So no reason to delay, follow your passion and make it happen today.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Again, it's like the Monday syndrome. Like, I can't stand this Monday syndrome. You have to start on a Monday, and so many people fall off the wagon on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Right.
Just do it now. So again, that's fantastic, advice you're giving to people. And again, it boils down to what we said earlier on. Do you really want it, or is it just because you just want it? Because if you really want it, you take massive action on it right now. So don't wait till January 1st or 2nd or whatever. Do something now and balance things out over the next few weeks. Do your exercise like Robert said. Do it in the morning. Still have a few treats. Still go out for your meals or your work gatherings, whatever it might be. Enjoy your Christmas Day and Christmas Eve and the day after, but balance it all out. Robert, it's been an incredible year for you. Like 215 is one I'm sure you'll remember. It's another big step in the right direction in your career and in your movement. You're playing such a huge role in the whole plant-based movement. Tell us a bit about what have you planned for 216? What kind of projects, new books, tours? What kind of stuff's going on for you in 216?
Yeah. Oh man. I've got a lot of great stuff I'm working on a new book right now. It's an ebook it'll be a full color ebook with my training partner, Vanessa Espinoza. She is a 3-time Colorado State boxing champion, an All-American basketball player, drafted into the Women's Professional League, WNBA, years ago. She's a personal trainer. She's been vegan for, I think, 13 years now. She presses 100-pound dumbbells in each hand, just like I do, or 110 pounds in each hand, just like I do. Bench presses 250 pounds, leg presses 900 pounds, just like I do. She's very hardcore. She's a great trainer. She has a fantastic physique. I mean, look her up at Plant-Based Muscle on Instagram or Twitter, or Vanessa Espinoza on Facebook. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about. So Vanessa and I planned this full color ebook that's going to be mostly geared toward training. That's what her specialty is. Absolutely fantastic physique, incredible muscle, and she has a lot of innovative exercise techniques as well. And she's been able to bring out the best in me too, where I've been, like I said, I met her a year and a half ago, and I've probably put on 20 pounds since that time. I've got really strong and added some good muscle size from my time spent training with her and interacting with her. So we're working on a new ebook, and who knows, that could turn into something that's beyond an ebook. It could turn into a print book someday. That's actually how Shred It started. Shred It was designed to be a 60-page ebook, and I just kept writing and writing and writing. Next thing I knew, I had 400 pages, and I hired an award-winning professional editor and narrowed it down to 300-something pages and had a book that went on to sell thousands of copies, and you never know what could happen. So I have this ebook. We don't have a title for it yet, but it should come out in the spring or summer, somewhere between March and June, I would say, 2016. And I'm writing articles for Forks Over Knives. In fact, I should have one on their website in about 5 days, I think, somewhere in mid-December. I'm writing for Dr. Campbell's Center for Nutrition Studies, his plant-based curriculum through Cornell University. So I'm writing for Dr. Campbell, for Forks Over Knives, for Vegan Health and Fitness magazine. Be sure to check out the January issue. It's going to be an exciting one. And I won't reveal exactly why, but that'll be an exciting one. So you got to check that one out in person to find out. It hits shelves in like a week or two, I think. So I'm writing for Vegan Health and Fitness magazine. I had a feature in Naked Food magazine recently that's on their current issue on stands now. So really it's a lot of writing and then touring as well. I mean, I plan to go to Europe. Nothing for sure, nothing guaranteed, but I've been in Australia the last 2 years on tour, Canada the last couple of years, US for the last 10 years, Caribbean the last 5 years. I think it's time to get myself over to Europe and get all over the UK, Germany maybe. a few other places, but definitely England and Scotland and Ireland and Northern Ireland, and that whole region. And I've been there before, but not as an author, not as a touring speaker. So I'm excited about that. So really, 2016 is going to be a lot of training, a lot of traveling, and a lot of writing. So really combining 3 of my passions all together to make it a really successful and productive year that should have an impact on a lot of people.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Find your passion. That's again, follow your passions, follow your drives, follow what it is you want out of life, and make it happen. And 2016 sounds super exciting for you, and delight to see so much going on, and like with Forks Over Knives and Colin Campbell's website, and again, you deserve it for what you've put in for the last 20 years, because you've been one of the main figures in this whole plant-based movement, and why it even got to the point where it is right now, where it's like, if you look at the curve, it's really starting to grow, and it's going to really explode over the coming years. There's people like yourself and some of the early pioneers of plant-based lifestyle that have just stuck with it and driven it on and on and on, and spoken to thousands of people all over the world. And that's why it's at this point where it's ready to explode. So, thank you for all the work that you've done for the whole plant-based movement. Oh,
my pleasure, Dave. Thanks, and thanks for those kind words. It's been an honor to do so. As I was a kid growing up on a farm, wanting to help farm animals have a better life, it's been really rewarding and fulfilling for me to be able to play the role that I've played to make a difference in those farm animal lives. So it's exciting to see it and to be able to connect those dots ahead of time and realize this was worthwhile work, and that it is worthwhile work, and that over time people would make that connection. That we would look at ourselves and look at food and ask the question: if you love animals called pets, why do you eat animals called dinner? And start to make those realizations and make some changes in our own lives, and to follow our own passion and to try to make a difference in the world. So it's been a rewarding journey. So thank you, appreciate it.
Keep it up. And sadly we've come to the end of our interview, because I know you're shooting off now again off to another lecture to help a load more people. And I just want to thank you so much again for your time. Again, as you said, you're busy, but again, you're passionate, and you're always ready and willing and able to to share your information, whether it be on a webcast like this or in a live seminar or writing books or articles in some form. So I just want to thank you for coming on the Go Vegan Grow interview, and it'd be great to even have you on again sometime in 2016. Thanks, Dave. Absolutely. Get in touch anytime. You know where to find me. I appreciate the opportunity. And, I've enjoyed chatting for the last hour and helping people go vegan and grow. Exactly. There you go. And if you ever happen to decide to do a tour over this side, Lanzarote, you always have a place to go as well. So never know. You might get here sometime even. And to the viewers, thank you. As I said at the very start, thank you for investing your valuable time and being on. It is important, and it's important for you too to spread the word about, Go Vegan Grow interview, what we do, what Robert does, plant-based movement. Just you need to share as well. Share about your experience. Share comments below the video. Share it on Facebook, all the social media. That's what you can do for us to help us as well. Because remember, if we all do a little bit, we can bring about mass change in the masses. So, do your little bit. We'd really appreciate it. Remember, Go Vegan Grow, it's all about educating, motivating, inspiring you to make a difference. Whatever your reason, make sure you Go Vegan Grow, so we can save ourselves, save animals, and save the planet. Also, Robert, just before we tune out, what are the best ways of contacting you? What are the best websites? Where can people get shredded? We just want to fire out any details of contact for you. Yeah, absolutely. Veganbodybuilding.com is the best place to get shredded. You can find it in some other countries and some other websites, but veganbodybuilding.com is the best place to go. And from there, you'll find links to our Instagram page, and just search Robert Cheeke, Cheeke, on Twitter, Facebook. You'll find me. Can't miss me. Easiest way, send me a quick note on Twitter, and we can take it from there. So yeah, appreciate it. And listeners, I thank you so much. Thanks for walking this journey with me all these years, and for hearing about some of the highlights of the last 20 years. And Dave, I thank you for having me on the Go Vegan Grow Show. And hit me up anytime. We can chat again in 2016. Exactly. Look forward to it. So guys, go out there, make difference, take positive action, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next Go Vegan Grow interview. Take care.